Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, switching into my radio voice and pitching the second of a triple hitter today. I'm not sure how I ended up with three podcast recordings in the schedule today, but it happens sometimes. And today I have with me Connor Thomson. CPCU, CACW, law clerk at Stickley Law, and brand new CPCU, generational speaker from this year's CPCU conference. Connor, how's it going today?
I'm about as well as I can be here. It's a cold and rainy day in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, but happy to be here.
So we're recording just before Thanksgiving, basically Tuesday, November 21st. It could easily be snow. so cold and rainy is probably not too bad.
Can I count my blessings?
And for the listeners, how I conned Connor into coming on this show. Basically, I had no idea if you knew who I was, but basically, okay, awesome. Basically, met him at CPCU Into Risk. I've never missed one, and this was his first one, where I was running around with my red jacket, my top hat, and doing magic. And we got into a conversation about his career and why on earth he's now going to law school and what he wants to do in the future. And that's kind of how we ended up here. So getting your CPCU, going to annual meeting, probably the easiest, well, not the easiest, but the best way to see a great magic trick from me and potentially end up on the podcast if you have a good story. So first of all, thank you for not getting scared away by my non-traditional insurance persona. I am really curious. Basically, let's put it this way: you are the first current law student that I've ran into as a new CPCU, as a CPCU new designee. So I am very curious how this came to happen.
Yeah, first of all, I was actually very impressed with your magic trick in DC. I loved it. So did my boss. How it came to be, I'm honestly surprised that I'm the first law student who has, their CPCU. I figured there'd be more, just with how incestuous insurance is with the law. I think I realized that overlap at a young age, being a freshman in college. And for the past 6 years, I've kind of made it my goal to learn as much as possible regarding how claims and litigation fit into the bigger insurance picture. I think it's on the back end of the insurance process, I would say, but it's arguably the most important part. You can bring in all the premium dollars you want, but if you can't control the losses and loss adjustment expenses, that'll erode your underwriting profitability, and an insurance company won't be able to succeed. So I've invested time and a lot of effort into my CPC, because I think, especially with the 530 exam, it really helped me gain that understanding of claims and litigation.
This is super interesting because 530 is the legal one, right? The legal aspects of insurance. And I've had many people ask me about that test. It's been a while since I took it, back in 2011. But my experience of that test was, you don't have to know anything about law. It teaches you everything you need to know about insurance law. So I would have thought that would have been like a super easy test for you, not a super interesting test for you. Why was it interesting?
I think it went one step further. So I took that as a first year law student, but in the second semester. So it covered all the foundational courses that I had taken in the fall. So it was easier for me to understand kind of where the book was coming from and what I was learning about. But it took it one step farther, or further, in terms of like insurance law. And so that's what I found to be interesting. And a lot of what I learned from the CPCU 530, I've applied on a daily basis with my work at Stickley Law. And it's a boutique insurance defense firm that specializes in fighting fraud, and we do insurance coverage work as well. So I'd never heard of a reservation of rights letter prior to taking the CPCU 530 exam, but I drafted a few over the summer and still continue to do so this day. And yeah, so it was more of that insurance law knowledge that I was pleasantly surprised CPCU 530 offers.
So one thing we hadn't mentioned is that you're a risk management major, and not only a risk management major, but a risk management major from St. John's, one of the top 10 schools in RMI. So the majority of RMI majors that I've run into go straight into an underwriting training program or a broker training program. Very few of them go into claims.
Correct. And I actually went to St. Joseph's, St. Joe's, St. John's, kind of close, same letters, same colors.
Yes. And they're both top 10 programs.
Yeah, very good.
So St. Joseph's, Philadelphia, St. John's, New York.
Yes.
So yes, that I was thinking St. Joe's. I just said the wrong name, but it still applies. Still top 10 program. In fact, I toured both Temple and St. Joe's with my brother a little over a year ago, as he was trying to choose which school to go to. So yeah, familiar with both. So the question remains, like, why not take kind of the cushy path and go into an underwriting training program?
Yeah,
like most majors.
I think that's a really good point, Tony. I think, look, I have nothing but great things to say about St. Joseph's. It's provided me the risk management insurance program department has provided me with so many opportunities, and I wouldn't be the insurance law professional I am today without it. If I could critique it, in the slightest, it's that it pushes a lot of its students, and I think this is reflective of all risk management insurance programs.
All are my programs.
Into brokering and underwriting roles. I mean, we have a class called underwriting for seniors. Part of our Gamma Iota Sigma chapter at St. Joseph's was an executive speaker series. And out of all my 4 years there, I would say almost all of the guest executive speakers were either brokers or underwriters. And last year they had an alumni panel, and all of them were brokers. So I think at the university level, these programs are pushing people into brokering and underwriting. And I think partly that has to do with it being what some may say like a sexy career, brokering and underwriting.
Within the insurance space.
Yes.
It definitely is, right?
Yep. And not only is it sexy, but I think there's a lot of money to be made there. I mean, I know I had a colleague who got a job right out of college at a wholesale brokerage making $90,000 base salary, and she was going to crack well over six figures with bonuses. I think if you look at and you compare brokering and underwriting, the sexiness and the pay to claims and litigation, I think there's a huge disparity there. It's not as interesting, some may think, as in terms of the sexiness or that appeal, and the pay certainly isn't comparable. I think that should change, and I think that's partly why a lot of these programs are pushing students into brokering and underwriting roles. But I have been happy to notice that on LinkedIn, I've been seeing a lot more claims trainee programs. So I know Zurich has one, Sampo International, WR Berkeley. And so, all my colleagues who are still in school, still seniors at St. Joseph's, I've been sending them, these links. I'm like, hey, apply for these claims trainee programs. There's more to the insurance industry than just, brokering and underwriting, although those two are two very important.
So I have not ran into the claims training program. I've seen apprentice programs, but hey, listeners, if you yourself went through, or know the people that run a claims training program, love to chat with them, make an introduction. Would love to have them on the podcast. Your chance to make a case as to why more people should consider claims training programs, and would love to also learn like how people graduating from those programs, how is their career different from people just coming into claims, kind of the old fashioned, we had no idea what we were going to do with our lives and claims was hiring kind of way. Okay, continue. So that's awesome to hear that more of that's happening. Claims desperately needs the TLC.
Yeah, and look, I think I'll plead the case for claims right now. I think it's a very while some may not think it's sexy, I do so. I think it's sexy, especially if you're handling like commercial, like high severity, complex commercial lines claims. You have to be very analytical. You're dealing with very interesting and intricate fact patterns. You know, you know, and look, it's not for everybody, and I'm not saying that you know, these colleges shouldn't push people into brokering and underwriting. I just think um, they're doing you know, in a way, their students a disservice if they're not exposing them to claims, if they're not telling them like, look, this is the other side of things, this is the back end, um, equally as
It's
important.
where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah,
It's the product people are buying. Ultimately, is the claims.
exactly. But I do think the work is very interesting. You have to be very analytical. You have to be a great writer. You have to communicate well. You know, claims professionals are always communicating with insureds, you know, they're either in-house claims counsel, panel counsel, plaintiffs, you know, counsel. So all these, you know, soft skills, being analytical, you know, really investigating and analyzing these, like I said, interesting and intricate fact patterns with deep skepticism, and being a good communicator, both in writing and verbally, are all skills that would be, you know, would make you a great claims professional, that a lot of students have, but they're just not being exposed to it.
True. But yeah, I'm not an my major, so I haven't lived it as a student, but I've seen the results of it, which is that every my major I have run into is is underwriting or brokerage.
I would have killed if I was, you know, if St. Joseph's offered a claims class, you know, taught by a claims professional or co-taught by a claims professional and an insurance defense attorney or insurance coverage attorney. I mean, I'm taking a class now at, you know, as a second year law student called insurance law, and Jesus, the insurance theory that I'm learning, you know, in this one semester is, you know, comparable to what I learned all 4 years at St. Joseph's. And, you know, it's taught by, you know, 2 attorneys. Um, but I think that, like I said, if I think by not offering a claims class or something claims and litigation related to college students, you're almost doing, you know, your students in these risk management insurance programs a disservice by not exposing them to those lines. And I know a ton of attorneys who are eager to teach a class to college students about insurance, and just to get them excited about, you know, becoming claims adjusters, becoming attorneys, you know.
Is there the insurance law class a mandatory part of law school?
No, it's optional, and only like 10 students enrolled in it, and we have these hundreds of students at Villanova. I don't know the exact number, but only 10 students. And I think that just shows, like, you know, we're talking about this talent shortage, and how it disproportionately affects, you know, claims and litigation. No one wants to learn about insurance law. But, you know, it's, if you look at, and this is kind of going from like a legal perspective, if you want to be a civil litigator, 95% of the money in tort litigation comes from insurance. So you better know how to read an insurance policy, or what a declarations page is, or what an endorsement and exclusion is, when you graduate law school. But once again, no one just wants to take these courses or to learn.
Did you have to like go out of your way to find a law school that had an insurance law class, or in what you saw generally they have it? It's just,
I think,
not a popular.
yeah, I think generally, almost all law schools have one insurance law course. At Villanova, we have 2. We have insurance law and then advanced insurance law coverage disputes, but very few have an insurance law concentration. So the University of Connecticut, their law school has an insurance law like center. I mean, they have an insurance law journal. You know, many different courses, a wide ranging, even from just insurance to risk management, and you know, they kind of parse through the different lines of business as well. You know, I would love to see Villanova have like an insurance law center or a journal like that, and other law schools across the country, because like I said, if you want to be a civil litigator, geez, you should know insurance.
How was CPCU over going through the program? How overall, how was it compared to what you expected coming in as an RMI major going to law school?
It definitely enhanced what I learned as a risk management and insurance major. I think it took everything one step further. I think all these risk management insurance programs across the country really provide a solid but rudimentary understanding of insurance, and you learn a lot from you know your work on the job. Um, for me, I didn't have that on the job time. I went straight from college to law school, and so really investing in that, and studying for my CPCU as a first year law student really bridged the gap from what I learned in college to what I'm now doing, as a law clerk. Like it was that perfect heightening of all these, this insurance theory, and how to actually apply it. And I think I'm much better off for it now, having done the CPCU. Like I can tell you, I wouldn't have the understanding of the property casualty insurance industry I do now if it wasn't for the CPCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was the how was Into Risk
Oh, I loved it.
again compared to what you expected?
I loved it. I wish I could have, stayed longer, gotten there sooner. But no, it was great. I think, uh, you know, geez, everyone was so nice. But everyone was so passionate about being a CPCU. Um, and that's something that I really appreciated. It wasn't clicky, but you can tell it's like, if you're a CPCU and you're going into risk, you're the cream of the crop, right? Like you're passionate about insurance. You love insurance. You love it so much that you put yourself through, was it 8, 9 courses and matriculated? And everyone's really proud to be a CPCU. Um, in terms of like the mentorship that I gained there, I met a few individuals who I still keep in contact with now. And I think they will go out of their way to help me. And likewise, I had the opportunity to run to a few students who were there at Into Risk, and I think it was a great opportunity for them. And hopefully they see me as a young insurance professional. And I know one of them already reached out to me on LinkedIn, and hopefully to serve as a mentor for him moving forward in his career. So it's that mentorship passed down through these really fanatical insurance professionals. Um, so.
I, I'm glad that you felt that because so for me, CPCU Into Risk, what we used to call the annual meeting, 2011 Las Vegas, what was my first one. And yeah, there was something special. I definitely felt something special. It was my first insurance conference in general. Fast forward to 2023. Now I've been to like 100 probably more insurance conferences at InsurTech. Um, and I've never missed a CPCU one. And what keeps me coming back is it really feels like a family. And I would have never thought of it doesn't feel clicky. But you're right, it doesn't feel clicky because as a culture, and this goes back to like this already was this way when I started in 2011. The society's culture is very much welcome the new people, right?
Yes.
Uh, they've put in the work. They're part of the family. How do we quickly help them? We spent a lot of time talking about this. How do we help them quickly realize that, hey, you found your tribe.
Mhm.
Uh, we're here. Keep coming whenever you can, right? Uh, and so I'm glad that it does come across.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, everyone was very nice and welcoming, but at the same time, when you're a part of the CPCU, like you're a part of an elite group, so it's hard to like explain that kind of dynamic. But I think you hit it right on the head. It's very welcoming. Everyone's super nice, but yeah, it's a tribe, right? Like everyone put in a lot of work and made a lot of sacrifices to hold this designation, and that's something that not everybody can share. But at the same time, society is very welcoming. It's a unique dynamic.
By the way, how did you, coming straight from college? How did you get the 2 years of experience for CPCU? So one year of that was the law clerk.
Yeah, so I've worked a lot. So I know my LinkedIn only shows my experience with Stickley Law, but I've worked the title insurance industry on like the mortgage lender side. I've done claims for USAA. I've
Oh,
worked on the agency kind of operations side for an insurance technology company here in Media, Pennsylvania. I've worked for um, as an underwriting intern for NSM Insurance Group, an MGA out here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. I've done like the marketing work for a wholesale broker, a workers' compensation wholesale broker in Springfield, Pennsylvania, and then now my law clerk position. So I worked through college to help me put myself through law school. I worked 2 jobs as a first-year law student, both in the insurance industry. So I gained my 2 years, well over my 2 years of experience by the time I matriculated. It wasn't easy.
Perfect.
At the end of, I always knew that like I wanted to get my CPCU young because I wanted a seat at the table, and those 4 letters will help me. And I knew
It's a great way to do it.
yeah, but in order for me to get that seat at the table and have my CPCU, I needed the work experience. So I knew that, like I said, probably as a freshman, sophomore in college, and I made it my goal to work throughout college.
That is fantastic. And you finished your CPCU at what age?
23.
23, which is about as young as you can do it. Like, it's very hard to do it any earlier than that. Taking into account college and all that. So that's fantastic.
You want to know what's interesting though is that I'm not the only one. 2 of my colleagues from St. Joseph's are 23, and they also have their CPCU. So I think this is like, look, we're talking about the talent crisis in the insurance industry, and yes, there is a talent crisis in the insurance industry, but I think this is, I'm like living, breathing, walking proof that the insurance industry's investment in the next generation, in young talent, is paying off. I'm the return on investment. My colleagues are the return on investment. And so, I'm proud to say that, like I said, 3 people that I know of, and I think a 4th, and he's waiting his matriculation from St. Joseph's, all 23, we all have our CPCUs, which is pretty astounding.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's definitely paying off. There's not enough of you guys. That's the thing, right? The RMI programs are growing. They're expanding. We need like 7 times as many as there are, right? And it's so hard to get them going. How did you end up being a generational speaker?
I applied. I thought I had a unique story, just with my personal challenges, and those, were really transformative for me, both, personally and athletically when I was, in high school and college, and then now professionally. It's what I learned, this idea of resilience and kind of determination. That those are themes that I try to live or try to exude on a daily basis. And I just thought I had a unique story to share with that, and just the fact that I'm so young and I have this, and I decided, why not me? So I wrote like an essay to share my story. I was selected as a finalist. I interviewed with Angie and Victoria from the institutes, and I think my story resonated with them, and they felt as though it would be nice to share with everybody into risk, and the rest is history. On the litigation side, I'm hopeful that we're getting more qualified attorneys, to help insurance companies close their claim files quicker, right? I just, we dealt with this with, Stakely Law over the summer, looking to hire, another associate attorney. And it was very hard for us to find somebody who possessed even a basic understanding of insurance. And on the insurance defense side, you don't need, a background in insurance. You don't need to have studied risk management insurance. On the coverage side, maybe you should understand insurance. I think that would certainly help. But you're looking at a good fit for, whether you're in-house claims counsel or panel counsel. Knowing insurance is probably a good thing. There's just so few people out there. So I'm hoping that more people are going to study risk management insurance, make the conscious decision to go to law school and get a job at, an insurance company or at an insurance defense firm. And that way we have more people, more panel counsel, in-house claims counsel, what have you, who know insurance and can be better advocates for the insurance industry. Other than that, I'm hoping that we can do our job to take a hardline approach to claims handling, and that's
you've got semester and a little bit left in law school, right?
Year
So
and a
you're
half.
kind of
A year and a half.
yeah, year and a half, year and a half. Okay. Oh yeah, 2025, year and a half. Because you're exactly halfway point basically.
Yes.
Okay. How is the difficulty compared to the RMI major?
Oh, geez.
How much harder is it?
It's like comparing apples to oranges. It really is. Uh, Look, I think, you know, and this doesn't really have to do anything with like the RMI program itself, but just in college, I think you can get away with if you're smart, if you're average above average intelligence, I think you can get away with not working as hard or putting in as much work with your studies. If you're in law school, you are surrounded by the people who are at the top of their class at all these different colleges, um, people who are just high achieving, just really intellectual academically, and who are ready to outwork you. It's competitive. Believe it or not, law schools like to say, "Oh, it's not cutthroat." It is. It's very competitive, and so you have to be on your A game every single day, all the time. And so it's intellectually demanding, and it's emotionally draining because imagine that you're sprinting a marathon for 3 years, and it's tough. Like I said, I can't really compare it. I can compare my insurance law class now to what I took in college, and like I said, St. Joseph's was fantastic. I got a great, solid, rudimentary understanding of insurance. But this insurance law class I'm taking now, geez, took it to a whole other level. Just the insurance theory behind everything. It's just unparalleled.
Okay, so I love the comparison. Okay, so it's not a matter of it's not a matter of it's 50% more difficult, 80% more difficult. It's comparing a sprint to an Ironman.
Yes.
They're just completely different games, basically. And there on one you've got weekend warriors who enjoy running for fun. The Ironman, you've got the real crazies that have
Yep.
ran half marathons and marathons all over the place, and then started doing tries, and then actually jumped into the Ironman side.
It takes a special breed to go through law school and to put yourself through that. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but geez, I can imagine in a year and a half from now, it's going to feel really good that I did that. I'll get a lot of personal satisfaction out of it, just to know that I accomplished this great feat that not everybody can do.
Fantastic. Connor, it's been a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to meet you in DC, and it's been a lot of fun chatting with you. Hopefully, you'll remain involved with CPCU. Completely understand if the next year and a half you're a bit busy finishing law school, but after that, hopefully you're able to remain active with CPCU. It really is a wonderful tribe, and yeah, we don't have a ton of defense attorneys that are active in CPCU. A couple that I can think of.
I recruited my boss, my supervising attorney. He's going to join, and him and I actually just finished writing an article. Abby Potter Clow, she had asked us if we wanted to write something, and so we did. We're going to submit our draft tonight, and hopefully it'll be published in Insights in the spring. So we're finding ways to stay involved and to get more people involved on the defense side, claims litigation.
Very, very cool. Thank you so much for your time. And happy Thanksgiving, since we're recording just before Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Tony. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.